This episode of the Major Issues Podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse. Comic Book Click is on Patreon, guys. For as little as 10 cents a day or $3 a month, not only can you help keep the lights on here at Comic Book Click headquarters, but your donation gives you access to exclusive content like CBC commentaries, polls where you can choose what content we cover next, and special behind-the-scenes footage of things here at Comic Book Click. Visit patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse today and become a Patreon. And remember, you, yes you, are worthy. Hello, everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don, and if you're listening to this, you can only be here for one reason, and that's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you by comicbookclick.com. And as always, I am never alone. Sir, could you please introduce yourself?
Brand new episode, Black Widow. I'm Claudius Maximus.
Claudius Maximus is in a mood. It's been some time, my friend, since you've been on the Major Issues Podcast. We've been on this MCU journey together, through its ups and its downs. And I felt poetic to make sure that we were able to reunite to tackle the latest installment into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We went Marvel starved last year, right? Like nothing for the entire year.
I was hungry.
And then this year, we've had already Loki, Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision, now Black Widow.
They have been treating us, dude. They have been treating us.
What are you digging this new wave of Marvel content? How are you feeling?
I'm digging it, but I feel blessed. I can't lie.
Yeah.
I can't lie.
Well, the big thing about this film that we're covering here today is I feel like we've set up for this exact film, not even this kind of film, 3 different times, 3 different occasions. We were getting ready to see this film. I remember it was one of the films nominated for most anticipated of 2020. We were hot off the heels of the highest grossing film at the time, Avengers Endgame, and we were set to get this little Natasha, film off the ground, and nothing, due to COVID and stuff like that.
Lots of pushbacks, lots of wait, we'll give it to you later.
Right. Did you feel any of these delays messed up the momentum of this film?
You know something? I was hoping you was gonna ask something like that. I was actually saving my answers for that for that type of question for like late towards the end.
Yeah.
But we here now. To be honest, I'm not, well, in retrospect, I'm kind of glad they pushed it back as many times as they did, but I don't know if it would have done so well if they didn't push it back. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I think people were just like, oh, it's gonna be a Black Widow movie. She's already gone. But still, dude, pushing that back, and I'm trying to get excited. I got excited. I got excited real late. Once I knew it was gonna be up for sure, I was like, oh no, I gotta get in there, bro.
Yeah, I wasn't 100%. Like, I like the character. I'm always up for another MCU film, but I did feel a little bit deflated when I knew I couldn't see it last year when it was supposed to come out. I mean, the same thing happened to me with Wonder Woman as well, But I mean, I'll give this bit of a review early on. I like this way more than I liked Wonder Woman 1984.
Woo! You know something? I'm gonna say that, and I enjoyed 84. You
understand? I wasn't a fan of 84. You were, but we're both saying off the rip that we liked it. For those who haven't seen it, who have been maybe waiting for whatever reason in the world to watch it, I usually like to start these off, even if it's just 5 minutes of no spoilers. What do you got to say to those who haven't seen it, spoiler free, about the movie?
What up? So if you haven't seen any of the shows, on Disney Plus, it'll, oh man, it's such a shot in the arm, bro. Then all right, so you got the TV shows, and those for the time being, for when they got their movies in gear, was going to be the shot in the arm you needed to hold you over.
Yeah.
But this is the booster shot that puts you over the edge, bro. Like, oh man, and it's cool that I'm saying this because for the weight and everything, I didn't think it was gonna be such worth the wait. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm glad that it was.
Yeah. There's been people saying, there've been people trying to take the air out of this the same way they did
Hmm.
with Captain Marvel. Films like this, sometimes it's people's agenda to try to raid on these parades. And one of the things I saw was like, oh, I guess it wasn't that good because not everybody's talking about it. But to be honest, besides the enjoyable moments, like I don't really think there's things in here to really spoil, like that are
Right,
gonna break
right.
apart. It's
They're
just like a
gonna
really
really
good,
gonna.
yeah. It's just a really, in my opinion, a really enjoyable and entertaining story.
You
Um,
just got to remind yourself that it's a story in between a
yeah,
story.
yes,
You
yes,
know, in the grand scope of the MCU, it's a story in between. You know, it's
yeah.
a
Two
nice
two of the
little
bigger stories, yeah.
beefy, nice little beefy side quest. Is that what I like to call
Yeah.
it?
I think that if you haven't seen it, you should just go in a bit open-minded. There's going to be some things that surprise you. There's going to be some things that you may rub wrong against, but I do think that overall, the meal is worth it. There may be parts of the meal you don't like. Maybe something is over seasoned. Maybe something you
Right,
wish you
right.
had a little bit more of. But
And
the meal
I know a lot of people
together,
don't. A lot of people don't like their vegetables anyway. So
that's what it is. The meal altogether for me was definitely worth it. So
yeah.
that's my recommendation. But one of the things I will also say, if you haven't seen it and you have an opportunity to hear this strangely before you decide to, um, see it with family if you can. That was something
Yeah.
I told Claudius Maximus. I suggested, or I said that my viewing experience was at least colored by that fact. This is
Hmm.
a very
Hmm.
family oriented film.
That's for
Um,
sure. Yep.
and watching it around family, or if you have a family, I feel like those things, or even if you have like a kind of messed up
And
a
even so, you can
family,
kind of tell. You can kind of even tell from the trailer that it was going to be that way anyway. You know, you got your sister, her sisters, mom, dad. You know,
yeah,
the
this film
whole
really
family.
captures the weird, like imperfect, perfect nature of family. Like how
Hmm.
like none of it really makes sense, but it all kind of does make sense. I thought that was really, really good. But if you are already Claudius Maximus, we can get fully into this spoiler filled
Let's
review.
let's do it because nothing is stronger than family.
That's what they
Dom.
say.
That's what they saying, right?
That's all. It's all over the internet. So, Black Widow is a 2021 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name. It was produced by Marvel Studios, distributed by Walt Disney Studios, and is the 24th film in the MCU.
King
24.
Mouse. Ooh, 24. Kobe.
24.
Oof.
Uh, the film was directed by Kate Shortland from a screenplay by Eric Pearson and stars Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, slash Black Widow, alongside Florence Pugh, David Harbour, O.T. Fagbini, Ogla
Damn. Say that five
Kurilenko,
times fast.
right? William Hurt, Ray Winstone, and Rachel Weisz. Black Widow premiered on June 29th, 2021 at various events around the world and was also released in the United States on July 9th, simultaneously in theaters and through Disney Plus with premiere access. I believe that was $30. Same thing as like Mulan.
It was $30, and they saying they
Oh
made
yeah, I got it right
some
here,
bank,
bro. I
bro.
got it
And
right here.
that's what I'm and like that's what I want to get into too eventually. But oh,
Oh,
dude, I
100%.
completely unexpected. That's why
It
I'm like, holy cow! If they didn't push it back as much as they did, I don't think, you know.
Yeah, it was like
And
a perfect storm.
even at first, they were gonna release it, try to release it in theaters anyway.
Yeah, off the
Until
rip.
I don't think it was until the second time they were trying to release it, they said, "Listen, we're just going to release it on Disney Plus," you know,
Yeah, that
and
was
in
one of the
theaters just in
biggest
case.
things at the time. Warner Brothers completely just said like we're gonna release this like the next year's slate of movies on Max and
And some people wanted to
in
follow suit
theaters.
in a sense,
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't think Disney
which is
was
cool.
going
Which is
to.
cool.
Yeah, they were trying to like Black Widow's release and Wonder Woman's release were like playing chicken for a while.
Yeah,
And even Wonder Woman didn't know whether or not they were gonna let it go to streaming. So a lot of people thought that once they found out what was gonna happen with Wonder Woman, we'll find out what's gonna happen with this. Um, it was the first film. It is the first film in Phase 4 of the MCU, and it was delayed 3 times, like we already said. It was initially slated to come out May 2020, but COVID happened. Regardless, it broke several pandemic box office records upon release. It's already
Sheesh.
grossed 159 million worldwide, and on top of that, earned 60 million globally from Premier Access. So 60 million
Mm,
dollars from on demand.
yeah,
That's pretty good.
that is pretty good.
That's
60
pretty damn good.
mil. Ooh.
And that's also, like I said, it's pretty good because like there's no getting higher than that a household.
Right.
Maybe if there's two families in that household,
Hmm,
you
hmm.
know. Whereas tickets, you can always go higher, right? Because
Yeah, of course,
popcorn
because
or
you got to pay for every ticket as
yeah,
opposed to like every streaming service. You just put it on the TV and everybody in the family can watch.
yeah. So that 60 is nothing to scoff at.
Right, right.
It's
But
something good.
I'm just surprised it even got up there, cracked that like that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, 150 million is that's pretty damn good. I remember people were disappointed when like bigger films hit that, like I feel like this was a bit of a dark horse for certain people, but it's still killing it. And also kudos to Marvel, Disney, whoever the hell is creating those MCU Legends shorts on Disney Plus. I don't know if you've watched those.
Oh, dude, I haven't watched not one of those, man. I only because I forget that that's actually up there, which
Yeah,
is
it's basically a short, like anywhere between 5 to like maybe 10 minutes, spotlighting a character and their events from the first time you met them in the MCU to where they're at,
that's dope.
leading up to a property. So
Right.
initially they did this for Wanda and Vision separately, all of
Hmm.
their MCU history separately, and then leading up to WandaVision. Then they did Bucky,
Wow.
Sam, and Sharon
I'm gonna
Carter.
stop it. You're the more you say, the more I gotta be
Oh, the
upset. I've
Black
been
one.
watching a lot, dude. I've been watching a lot of Sesame Street, man.
I feel you. I feel you. I know you're. I was gonna say a growing father, but I guess you are a growing father. I guess that's how that works. And this film is about family. Let's talk about it. This family in 1995. So yeah, of all things, our film starts off in Ohio in 1995, and we see a little blue-haired girl riding her bike around the neighborhood, and we hear other kids call her Nat. So initially, I'm like already having my arms crossed because I'm like, are they gonna try to tell me that Nat's American born,
Mhm.
neighbors know her? I'm already like, wait a minute, what's
Right.
going on here? But
With the family and all, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I'm like, obviously, I know I'm getting ahead of myself. So
Now you see that right there. I was like, all right, cool. But I was like, what's the first thing I said to myself was, what's the cover?
yeah, what's the catch? What's the
What's
catch?
what's the catch? What's the cover? You know, cause she
Uh,
been spying. She know her ways, man.
we see her playing with her younger sister. The youngest gets hurt, so her mom, played by Rachel Weisz, consoles her and brings both girls in so they can have dinner. When their father, David Harbour, arrives, he seems nervous and eventually tells the entire family they have to leave immediately. So this was bugging me out, right? Because
The adventure.
like that, and then like, but I'm hungry. Oh, don't worry, I have fruit roll-ups in the car.
Hmm.
It's like,
I just said,
wow,
oh,
we're
let's
not even
go.
eating dinner. So I'm like, we're not even
Being
eating dinner.
handy.
Like your daughter wants dinner and she's hungry, and you're like, no, we got to go now. But I have some candy in the car. Like that. That's but like even little Nat is on it, right? She's obviously knows
Yeah.
it more than the younger one or the
Yeah,
youngest
then
one
the younger
does.
one.
Um, it is revealed that the parents we have been watching were deep cover Russian agents on a mission. The entire family was a facade, so that the spies would be able to go about their business undetected. They were trying to steal some stuff from Shield, and like I grew up at a time where there were a lot of movies fixated on like this weird Russian spy thing, right? Yeah,
Espionage and
espionage, whatever. And I'm like, how freaking bad does it get? Apparently, it gets pretty bad. I found out that there was an investigation done in 2010, and using forged documents, some spies assumed stolen identities of Americans, enrolled at American universities, joined professional organizations, and infiltrated government circles. Uh,
that's deep.
two of the individuals used the name Richard and Cynthia Murphy and resided in Hoboken, New Jersey in the mid 1990s before
What?
purchasing a home in Montclair. Check this out. Another couple named in court documents were journalists Vicky Palaez and Mikhail Vensikov in Yonkers, New York. The court filings allege that the couple were arranged in Russia's like a cohabitat thing, and they went so far as to have kids together to maintain their deep cover.
Yeah.
So this is real.
Oh, wow. That is real. It's deep. I'm like, you ain't gonna find. I don't know what you spying on in Yonkers though, but
ain't nothing over there.
Ain't nothing over there.
Don't go to the Bronx. They were trying to find out the Krabby Patty sauce from the chopped cheese recipe, bro.
Well, that's not there. You got the chum bucket up there.
The chum bucket. So they leave with no time to pack, and they drive to a small escape plane. Fake dad pulls guard while mom gets the plane ready, and this is the first instance where we see David Harbour's character has like enhanced strength.
Yeah, when he pulled that what was that, dumpster? When he pulled that dumpster over, I kind of first of all, I'm just gonna let this be known now. I pop for anything super soldiery in the MCU. You know,
yeah,
yep, 100%.
I went with my sisters, and one of them, like, I often forget how much I know, and that sits. Like, I've known he was a super soldier since the trailer, because I know the character Red Guardian's a super soldier. But my sister didn't. So as soon as she did that, and when they said at one point, like, get up, super soldier, or something like that, like, her eyes perked up because she had just been watching all the episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon, right.
You understand? That's all they've been talking about, super soldier, and this idea that there are so many different ones hidden in the world, right? Like Isaiah Bradley and stuff. Like, so yeah, sure, there'll be another one out here. I'm also, the reason why I'm not mentioning anyone's names by name is because we didn't get those names yet, right? So I'm just like, this is just dad and mom at the time. So they managed to evade capture, although the mother was shot, and they meet their boss, General Dreykov, in Cuba. Dreykov refers to the dad as Alexei, the Red Guardian, and the mother as Melina. After some protest, Dreykov has Natasha and Yelena drugged and taken to the Red Room for training. So we got a lot to unpack here with this opening scene. A bunch of stuff to unpack. One of the first things I want to unpack is I fell down a rabbit hole. You saw how I fell down that rabbit hole with the spies?
Did you fall down a Red Room rabbit hole?
Close to it. Check this out.
Yeah. I think I found out some of that stuff is kind of real.
I fell down a 1995 rabbit hole.
Ooh, 95 rabbit hole.
A 95 rabbit hole. And anyone listening to this, double check this and tell me if I'm wrong. But 1995 is the year that Natasha is, or I guess you would say, the origin of Yelena Belova as a Black Widow, right? So 1995 is the beginning of Yelena. 1995 is also the same year that Thanos steals Gamora from her planet.
Symmetry.
1995 is the year that Captain Marvel takes place.
Okay.
1995 is the year that Stick starts training Elektra in Daredevil.
Right.
What's up with all these dangerous women in 1995 doing something? Am I missing something?
Talk about the Red Room stuff, and I was led to believe some of that stuff is actually like legit. Not the Red Room itself, but something like the Red Room.
Well, I'm gonna get into that in a second when I get into that credit scene, because I think that's what really sets that off. But what did you think about the whole fake family thing, the accents? What did you think about that whole like setup scene, and then the really quick teardown scene of them escaping?
I thought that was awesome. Because I wanted to see how spyish / Black Widowy, you know, how she gone through it to get to where she's at right now. Yeah. Before she came up to Mr. Stark with her folders and whatnot.
What do you think about American Pie? Them singing American Pie.
Listen,
it was a little messed up. It was a little messed up because, you know, it's a song about the death, the accidental death of a bunch of musicians who died in a plane crash. Pretty notably, but you know, it has that line, "This will be the day that I die," and like watching David Harbour see the little girl sing it in the mirror.
Yeah,
it's kind of like messed up. Like, I don't like any of this. But yeah, I thought that was crazy. But another thing I wanted to say off the rip, I like this movie, but I liked it almost double as much seeing it the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
if you
want to
if
see it again. I
it,
definitely want to see it. I'm definitely gonna see it again after we finish filming this.
and that's the great
Tomorrow's
thing
my
about
last day.
this, right? Because
Tomorrow's my
you hear this
I
podcast
get to look. I
and then
get
you
to
get to
dissect a
find
little
those
bit
things.
better. Yeah, I get to find those things and
Eh,
get some cheap pop going. I want to
uh,
watch before I go back. I go back to work, so hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to sit down and at least watch half of it. You know.
I'm sitting there the second time watching this, right? And
Hmm.
I get like incredibly surprisingly emotional when one of the guards goes to grab Yelena and Natasha kicks the gun out of his hand and
Oh,
fucking
hold on. All right. So,
holds on to old girl and is like, no, don't you
oh,
fucking come near her. I will shoot you. I'll kill
oh.
you all. What do you think about that?
I I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt that.
That was real. And I guess because I didn't know where they were going, like what was gonna happen,
Hmm.
like this could have all been an overreaction, right?
Hmm.
I didn't
Hmm.
know what was gonna happen next.
To
But
be
knowing what's
honest,
gonna happen next, I'm like, son of a
I thought
god, man.
she was gonna shoot him first, and then they were gonna get separated anyway.
I truly believe she was gonna shoot the father.
Yeah.
There was a moment right
Oh, the
there where
dad,
where
right?
she where
Yeah. I
she
was like,
looked
oh,
like
you're not gonna shoot dad. But dad sounded too sure of himself, so I was like, all right, hold on,
the
you
thing is
know.
the thing is they saw the mother get
Hmm.
carted away and he's kind of like not even looking at
Not
her get
yeah,
carted
yeah.
away. So they made like in that decision, Natasha's like, oh, you may not even care about us. Like, hold up about all this stuff. And then halfway through a speech, like a pep talk, drugged, just fucking injected in the
Yeah.
neck and carted off.
And that's it. Cut it off.
And so then we get this credit sequence, which again, I think is something that on rewatch is 10 times better. Now, I have a problem with
Hmm.
a trope that's been happening in modern movies that um it's funny because it's actually parodied in this YouTube video that Kevin showed me, one of the other members of the clique. There's a new wave of movie trailer, right? Where
Is
they're
there?
all basically the same, but the big thing that connects them is that they all have some sort of weird, sad Lord-esque cover of a song, right?
Oh, I know what you're saying. That is, and then and then after that, it just picks up at the ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I know. I'm glad.
Right,
Yo, all right, cool,
right.
cool, cool.
So
Good.
so so when it first started, and I recognized what the song was, I
Hmm.
was a little ticked. I was a little ticked, honestly. I was a
Okay.
little like, okay, yeah, I've seen this, you know.
Hmm.
Um, when it started getting thing for me was when you started seeing clips of the home video. So they're showing like the
Uh.
home video, and then they're showing the clips of the training, and then they're showing the clips like rushing propaganda, and then they're
Hmm.
going back
Hmm.
to them like opening
Back to
presents at
them. Yeah.
Christmas and stuff like that. Like the second time watching, my heart, because the thing that I think you're kind of talking about with the Red Room, I don't know about necessarily spy or assassin training, but we can
Hmm.
talk about human trafficking, right? We can
Right.
talk
Right.
about child trafficking, sex trafficking, these children being put in cages or in, shipped overseas like this. The second time watching it, they have that shot of them just like bursting open the thing and all the kids just screaming as they have
Hmm.
guns pointed in their face. And I'm like, there's a lot, man. There's a lot.
Even filming that must have been like, ah.
And then I couldn't help but feel like, there was also a bunch of scenes of Dracoff, and he's there with like the who's who of everybody, right? Like he's this like
Right.
security guy, he's there with everybody. That felt to me like that Jeffrey Epstein shit.
Mm.
Like once we figured out who he was,
You
we're
know,
like,
it's
oh
crazy.
shit, he's in pictures with
That's
everybody.
yeah.
Wait a
That's
minute.
heavy right there. Woo.
And maybe that was, I don't know, post, pre, who knows, but it's like they were like, there's obviously in the dark corners, or the black market, whatever you want to call it, the most illegal circles, there obviously is a level of disregard for these countless children, women that go missing and stuff like that. And that's a big message in this film about how um disposable certain people take certain classes of people, and how they think
Hmm.
they could just throw them away or use them for
Throw them
their
away.
advantages and stuff like that. And that was kind of crazy. Did you catch Nat giving Elena the photo booth picture?
I did.
Yeah, I did too, but some people I guess didn't. They were wondering how she got the picture later on. But she was like,
You
"Yeah,
know what
hold
it
on to
is.
this."
I think if you do see it, you forget about it, and it's just like it just the moment passes. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, you know.
And then boom, we're off. In 2016, Romanoff is a fugitive for violating the Sokovia Accords post Civil War.
My man Ross.
Thaddeus. She escapes from U.S. Secretary of State Thaddeus Ross and flees to a safe house in Norway.
I popped seeing him.
He looked over it. He looked over it. But then again,
yeah,
he
did look over it. He's always looking over it. But in this one, he looked super over it. Because Tony went away. He couldn't catch Cap. He got his friends though, but he know this. Thor's still missing. Banner's still missing.
Yep.
Natasha's still missing, but Natasha's the only one he can actually freaking chase.
Exactly. And apparently not even that, right?
Yeah, and he's tired.
Not even that. What'd you think about her little trick of leaving her stuff in the bathroom?
I like that shit too.
I like her talking crap.
And the fact that I like her talking crap. I was just about to get into that. I feel like the what is it? The heart operation she said he had, the bypass.
Yeah.
He said what she said is like his third one.
Yeah, because he mentions that in Civil War. Remember, it's a story about how he's went golfing once and had a heart attack or something, and it taught him perspective. That's the story that he tells in Civil War. So she's just poking at him, like bringing it back up. Hey, didn't you say you had a bad heart? I wouldn't be doing all this if I were you.
So I feel like that's something that piece of information is like, I don't feel like that's a throwaway for some reason. I don't know. It just me being paranoid. And it being the first MCU movie back, but I don't know. I don't know if that was a throwaway, just like
maybe the next heart surgery he has needs to have some gamma radiation.
maybe
sure everything works the way that it does.
Red Hulk.
Hey, how do you feel about Mason? Did you know the man's name was Mason? Her like supplier, her like
her homeboy, the plug.
Yeah. When I looked it up, it said that it was somebody who she knew from her past that is romantically into her. Did you feel that?
I didn't really feel that, but I feel like they were trying to push that envelope a little bit.
I know this also may sound thirsty, but like, who's not into Scarlett Johansson, right?
Right.
So,
but he mentioned something like she has said something along the friend zone line. Oh, great friend. And then he was like, yeah, because every guy wants to hear just that.
Yeah, but before then, he tries to get her to open up, and he's like, "That tell me, that's what friends do." So what do you want, bro? What's going on here? It's all kinds of crazy.
He's trying to double dip.
Oh my God, that didn't work for Banner. You feel me? So
nope.
Got to figure it out. On mission in Morocco, we see a team of widows fail in an assassination attempt. The blonde of the two goes after the target on foot, and watch this, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, go back and watch this footage. She guts that woman like a fish. Like she guts her.
Oh, dude. Oh man.
I remember I said, holy, she drops a knife to the woman's waistline, grabs it, stabs her in the stomach,
and then just
twists it and then pulls across the sternum.
So it's funny because after that, I was like, man, if this girl on the ground turns over, it's over. All her stuff gonna be hanging out.
Yeah. but she does turn over, and she gets exposed to like a red chemical agent. And she seems to get snapped out of a spell. Did you know? I mean, I guess off the rip of everything. Like, do you think without trailers you would have known that this was Yelena?
No.
I was very curious about that. So that's why, like, even in writing this write-up, if you're just watching the movie as is, this is just three spy women, I guess, getting into something. So I mean,
if I didn't watch the trailer, then
yeah, then it would just have been like they almost.
I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known at all.
Yeah. She's Florence Pugh's too big of an actress to not be in trailers or on the poster. I totally get that. I'm not arguing that, but the way the movie sets it up, I feel like there is a reveal there. So Yeah, she snapped out of her spell of some sort and is instantly regretful of her actions. But the woman tells her to take the stuff and quote unquote free them all. She
Freedom
grabs
Wall.
a container with vials of and then she takes the tracker out of her leg, which causes her co-widow, I guess is the title, to
Hmm.
report that she's gone rogue. Her boss, who happens to be Dracov from earlier, calls in the Taskmaster, who seems to be using technology to study fighting styles. This is the first time we see Taskmaster. We see them watching. This is something also that they pointed out. So in the trailer, it's Taskmaster watching Black Widow fight in Iron Man 2, those guards. But in
Right.
the
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
film, it's him watching Clint fight uh Black Panther in
Mm.
Civil War. So I wonder why they changed that. I wonder if there was an initial draft of the film that was
I
different.
just chalked it up to the usual Psyche Mike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how
Um
how they show you the whole roster, but then you go to the movie, bam, Spider-Man in the money shot.
yeah. Yeah. Maybe yeah, because I guess there was some people that were
But
even thinking that
It's not Spider-Man. It's just something else. I feel like it was just for the hell of it, to be
no,
honest.
well, you like you were saying, 'cause there were some people that were thinking that
Or they could have been him just studying more recent shit. Because
yeah.
let's be honest, she's been doing that Hurricane Rana for years. So that's the signature right there.
I believe it,
That
but
head scissors
I feel like you could have just put that in the trailer, right?
in the trailer. Yeah,
Eh,
yeah.
But I'm also gonna guess that one of the my head canon for why that happened in the trailer was that there was some people that were suggesting that Hawkeye might have been Taskmaster, like a brainwashed version or some kind of there was
Oh,
early
okay.
people. So you show the footage from Avengers, I mean sorry, from Iron Man 2 that only shows Natasha, because why would he have to watch his own footage to, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, all of that. Um, what are your first master thoughts? You're plugging them in. They're plugging it in.
Oh,
Them
I'm just
in.
like, oh man, there's gonna
They
be a point
are.
in this movie. I was like, there's gonna be a point in this movie where he just wrecks everybody, bro.
Yeah. Um.
You know, so that was me. I was like, oh man, he watching the tapes. He
Yeah.
watching the tape.
Are you a fan? Are you a fan of the new design? There's a lot of people that are split.
I'm a little split. Um,
Yeah.
there are things that I do like. There are more things there think more. Yeah, excuse me. There are more things I do like as opposed to things I dislike about it. So I
Yeah.
guess I like. I guess I like it,
Yeah.
and it's maybe because I see the similarities between the MCU joint and the comic books. You know.
And the technology being used for the photo reflexes kind of thing is a
Hmm.
bit smarter. You know, like
Yeah,
it's harder
I
to
think so. As
explain
opposed to trying
that.
to memorize everything, yeah, and
Right.
explain
Like
it. Because in
yeah.
the comics, I forgot what he says. It's like, yeah, I can do all of that, but at the same time, I still have to push stuff out. You know,
Right.
I could be wrong. I've probably heard that someplace else, but I'm pretty sure it was on him.
Nat goes through the details of her new RV with Mason, who gives her some stuff he found in her safe house. She later puts these in her car, and when she goes to get parts for her generator, her vehicle is hit with an
From Budapest,
explosion. Boom. Yeah. Budapest. One of them was
ah,
saying.
Bluey.
She is confronted and outmatched by the Taskmaster agent, who uses its shield and sword to best Nat. He was beating her ass, by the way, or it was beating her
Yeah,
ass.
he was, bro. He really was. I was
They were
genuinely
beating her
concerned.
ass.
Yeah, I
Um,
was genuinely concerned. I was out here. Oh man, it's been months, for years, a couple years since a MCU movie. You know, I'm gonna need you to throw some hands,
this
man.
film was actually very surprisingly hard hitting. There was lots of moments where I was like, "Oh, that was rough.
Hmm.
That fight scene was rough." For
Yo,
that, you know,
dude, there was a scene with Well, we're gonna get to it anyway, so
I think I know
I'll
what you're
wait till we get
talking
there.
about. I think I know what
Yeah,
you're talking about.
man. Ooh, bumps, family bumps. That's how
Hey,
you bump.
you only bump like that when you trust somebody. You understand? That's how that works. Um, so yeah, instead of killing her, Taskmaster scans for something in Nat's trunk, and she realizes it's after a black box. After a scuffle, he literally just throws her off a bridge. I was like, wow.
Peace. You know.
Um,
Granted, she tried to hold her own. She has some moves, but
yeah, it
you
did. She
know,
reversed that Hurricanrana though. That was the first
oh,
thing she
he
went
did
for it, and it was like,
with his own.
yeah, with their own.
with their
with
own. Yeah.
their
Well,
own.
I say that because for the
Yeah,
obvious,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
the reveal.
And some people say that the reveal, and I'm not spoiling the reveal here, but might have been a little bit deceptive given size and body language from the beginning of the film to the end. But
Okay,
I've yet to put together and see
okay.
if it tracks. But there's
I think I know what people mean. I'll get to that later when the review comes.
sure. So yeah, she gets thrown off the bridge, but she still has what Taskmaster was looking for. It ends up being the red vials from earlier, but with a
Hmm.
photo of Nat and Yelena confirming that the Black Widow is Yelena Belova, her sister,
Hmm.
that she was separated from. But yeah, hell of a fight scene, really, really gritty. And like Nat almost dies in like that car wreck or whatever. And she
Yeah,
gets
it's
really
funny because
pissed.
I knew it was coming, but I didn't know when.
Anytime
So
somebody's driving
her
quietly in the Marvel
yep.
universe, you're just waiting for an explosion.
So I'm like, oh man, but when he smoked her with a grenade, right?
I think so.
Rocket. No, it
Yeah.
was the arrow. It was the arrow.
No, the
I
arrows
think it was.
later. The
Oh
arrows
yeah,
later where it
true,
goes
true. Yep,
underneath. Yeah, that was crazy.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Um. So okay, so Nat goes to Budapest to confront Yelena about the antidote, and not trusting one another, they almost kill each other. Is this what you're
That
speaking of?
was that was yo. I think honestly, that's probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. Is that whole
Yeah.
sequence right there.
Yeah, man. They were
They
knocking
kicked
each
each
other
other.
across
They
the
kicked each
walls.
other's ass. They
She broke
bumped
a
for each
plate.
other.
She broke a plate on her head.
They sold for each other. Dude, it was crazy. At one point, I thought Natty would probably take off her shirt and her whole back was just gonna be purple.
Yeah, right. What about the they were strangling each other with the curtains?
That was true.
That
That was good.
was
But
pretty funny.
I'm glad Nat caught the you can tell they kind of like try to keep him even, but they also showed us who the boss was, and that was nice.
I'm
And I
glad you
kind of
said
like
that.
that.
I'm glad you said that because initially in the trailer we saw the scene of them pointing the guns at each other and doing the gun switch thing. We've seen
Uh-huh.
the gun switch thing a million times since Rush Hour, right? The whole
Hmm.
like I'm faster than you, so I can take your gun and point it back at you kind of deal.
Hmm.
And that's cool, that's fine, but they needed to get that gritty fight in and out
Yeah, bro.
in the film and out of their
Ooh,
system.
I'm so glad it was that. I'm so glad it was that good.
Yeah, yeah, they were really brutal.
They wrecked each other, bro.
And it was this moment, it was in this scene that I realized that a lot of Yelena's personality is in her unsaid looks, like
Hmm.
in the things that she's not saying. You could tell,
Saying
you could
you could
tell.
read her face, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
caught a lot of. She does that a lot in the movie.
at one because even here when they choking each other and they say truce or whatever, she's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
you've gotten bigger" or whatever, and she like for a second it's like, "Oh, that was nice," and then she was like, "Well, nah, fuck you," and then she was like, "It's whatever," and then she gets up. Um, there's a lot of that, and I really like that a lot. I also want to say up top here that I also walked into this movie with my arms crossed with the whole idea of like a Black Widow replacement, right? And I think
I was walking in as well the same way.
I'm
I
assuming
can't
people did
even.
the same thing for Sam, right? There's probably some people who were like, oh, they're replacing Captain America, but I
This is
never
true.
read Yelena in a comic like as the Black Widow. So I was like, I'm not too sure about this. But like the actress and the character, I think is amazing, and they did a great job with her in this film. Not
Oh hell
only
yeah!
showing that she's capable of the same things we know Nat is, but a different kind of feistier flair about her.
Right.
And
I think she's more ruthless than that,
yeah, yeah.
and and to be honest, I'm okay with that.
They made it a point to say that she was trained younger than Nat was,
Hmm.
so she's almost an evolution on that whole thing. And then you know what they have the nerve to do? They have the nerve to make her funny. You understand? And once they did that, I
Once
was
they did
like,
that, that was
wow,
it. She
like
was so over, bro. It's over.
I
She's
was
so
like,
over.
you're a homie now. Like, nah, you good.
Yeah,
Nah,
she really
yeah,
is. She
come
really
through.
is. She's in this. She's in the circle now, and
Yeah,
she. Oh man.
I was very surprised by all that. Um, After the scuffle, Yelena admits to sending her the vials, hoping that it would be in the right hands because she's an Avenger, not
Hmm.
realizing the events of Civil War. Um,
Hmm.
when Yelena mentions hoping to finally shut down the Red Room, we find out that Natasha thought she ended the Red Room after she killed Dreykov and his daughter in an explosion, which was coincidentally the final mission in her defection to Shield.
Mhm.
Another interesting thing is Dreykov's daughter is directly mentioned by Loki in Avengers 1. So a little exploding mind blowing thing for those.
What? You see
Yes,
how I stopped the.
that's why I
Let me
feel
figure
that's why
this out. What?
I feel the dead air.
What?
Yeah, he says, you think you can erase all that red on your ledger, Dreykov's
Yes,
daughter.
yes, yes, yes,
Then
100%.
and
I
then he
thought you
no,
was
and then
just
he
all
literally
like flat
says
out. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Dreykov's daughter. He literally says Dreykov's daughter.
He does.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
does.
I swear to right hand to Groot.
For real.
Right hand to Groot, bro.
Wow. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to kind of see if I can find that now.
Yep. So if you go all the way back to 2012, almost 10 years ago, yeah, he mentioned specifically the Red Ledger of Dreykov's daughter. Yelena is highly doubtful about all of this. I love her like sniffing out the bullshit. Like this is the first time I felt like Nat became a bad liar. Like she's a spy, but her sister was calling her shit out.
That's why I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh man, I know she's gonna eat the. I know at the end of this, like I know she's already gone, right? But I can't. In my head, I'm like, I can't wait for this movie to be over so that way she could take that mantle, you know. And then, but you know what happens after throughout the movie. But shit, dude.
She was calling her bluff. She was calling her bluff. She's like, so where was the body? Well, there wasn't a body. Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You're good. You're good on that. I love at one point she asking her about the vials, trying to explain what the vials are, and she's like, oh, it's like a chemical component that is used to, reverse the effects of like, I don't know, like cerebral sabotage or something. Mm-hmm. And she goes, say it in English, and then instead of saying it in English, she says it in Russian.
I laughed at that.
And then she's like, yes, smart ass.
and then after she said that, I was like, I threw my hands in the air and I was like, Bucky.
Yeah.
I was like, Bucky, you needed that shit. Yeah. But it's like we did it the natural way in Wakanda, you heard?
And that's another thing that I think they end up saying later is that Nat was mentally, what do you call that? Abused, like mentally coerced to become a widow, where this is actual like hijacking.
Like actual
hijacking of the mind. Not to say one is worse than the other, but like they're trying to put this on a conveyor belt, instant mind control. So they are ambushed by a bunch of widows, and they are able to evade them. But I have to stop and mention that one that broke her leg. She falls down, and
the one that eats it, right?
And then shot herself in the face. Dreykov shot herself in the face. But one of the most, again, unspoken things, I don't know if this was in the direction or what. Right when this moment happens, Yelena runs towards them, and she has one of the vials in her hand.
Yeah, already.
She was
already ready. Yeah, out.
She was ready to dose old girl. Like it wasn't a situation where she was gonna leave these women behind.
Nah,
they were coming to kill her. She was gonna go over and save her. And when she realizes that, she gets even sadder and says, like, you believe me now? And I was like, damn, like there's so much that they're doing that maybe I'm just starved for good stuff, but sometimes you're just like, it's effortless. It's like all this stuff really exists. Like this story it's effortless. They are sisters. They might as well have been. And this is somebody they're just introducing, and I believe it already because of how she can call her bluff in ways only sisters can, really, or family can. They're eventually hunted down by Taskmaster, who uses an arrow to explode their vehicle. The women escape to a subway and are almost beheaded by Taskmaster before tricking the agent into thinking that they went into the floor grates. So
that was cool.
Another very, very interesting thing. So that whole trick of the whole leading him with the blood.
Yeah.
When you watch it again, and maybe you were smart enough to catch it on the first try. When you watch it again, the car gets hit with the arrow, it flips, then they both coming out. Yelena's goes, my arm is bleeding. And she goes to patch it. And Nat goes, no, not right now. Because Nat wants the blood to lead to the grate.
To lead, yep.
And that, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, like this is like it's so much better on
Yeah.
second watch because it's so much spy stuff that you can't really read everyone's mind at the same time. There's a lot to keep
Hmm.
track of. The actual
Right.
action, the action that's happening behind the scenes, and what you think is going on even higher than that.
The psychology.
Yes, 100%. But if you watch it a couple of times, like it's all there.
Right.
And it's all great.
And that's another thing too, because I knew spy and whatnot, I knew there were gonna be layers to a lot of things. Well, I expected there to be layers to a lot of things, but that I think was pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's just like what to do. She knows just what to do in certain situations out in the field if it went down.
right.
I thought
And it's
that was
still
cool.
teaching stuff to Yelena.
And to the younger, yep.
Yeah. Um, like I said before about almost beheading, Taskmaster is throwing that shield, bro.
Ooh, is he, bro?
Man,
Ooh, he was chucking that. He been watching his tapes.
I was like, wow, the speed and like the way they get the physics of it, like when it hits that wall, like all of it just feels dangerous. He as a character feels
I honestly
dangerous.
like my favorite shield spot was when he was fighting Nat on the bridge and he jumped and you could see him twirl and point the shield at her because she's trying to shoot him.
Yeah, yep, block the shots.
I thought that was badass right there.
Yep, and then he kicks up the shield like Cap does in the
Like
elevator.
Cap. Doom. I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
just like Cap, like how he says
I
in
was like,
Marvel vs. Capcom.
I know, yeah, just like Cap.
Just like Cap. They head to a gas station and talk about Pain, the Avengers posing and being murderers. This is when you get a little bit more of that signature Belova charm, as she talks about, like, oh yeah, the only reason why Dracoff didn't come after you for what you did was because he would have got on the radar of the Avengers, and that would have got him in trouble with the big ones in the Avengers. She's like, what are you talking about, the big ones? And she's like, yeah, I don't think the space god has to take ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. I laughed real hard at that.
It's just like these little dry humor European digs that she'd be giving her are
Mm-hmm.
hilarious. And then, like I said, that posing scene, bro, it's already up on Comic
Oh,
Book Click. But the whole
yeah,
like
I shared
like
that thing today. That was awesome.
it's like,
I was like, you can't knock
why
it
do
till you
you
try it.
why do you always you pose? You're such a poser. I was like, yo, you're ridiculous calling her a poser. Um, what did you think about this? There was like this weird back and forth where Yelena like Yelena gets upset at Nat almost for not coming to find her.
Mhm.
Like because she says, like, what did you think? Where did you think I was? And she was like, oh, I just thought, you escaped and you were living
Yeah,
happily.
living your life.
And she's like, and so you thought that, but you never came to find me, like you never came to see me. And then she goes, no, I know what it was. You just didn't want me hanging out with you saving the world.
Mhm.
And like, if that's really what Yelena's been telling herself, that's some dangerous.
Yeah, I just feel like she just didn't want to like not get her involved, but have her around. She wanted her to have some sense of fucking normalcy after, I guess, all of that BS of just like all the red room stuff. Like, oh, you deserve to live your life, but this is, you know,
There might have been
this is
some
me.
selfishness too, though, in the sense of like, if all your past reminds you of is the bad things that you've done, maybe
Mhm.
you do Hakuna Matata it, right? And
Right, right.
just pretend you have no past, no nothing, and now you're with these new friends who all think you're great, right?
Mhm.
So why ever look back, um it could be a little bit of that too, but there's definitely, I do think Yelena feels a little bit abandoned by the whole situation.
Yeah.
And that brings up a different dichotomy between these two sisters besides all the other stuff that they do. She's like, we're both killers. Like, just because you get to be in the magazines and girls look up to you don't mean that you're any better than me. You
I was
know?
like, I like how she threw that in there, just in case. Now, if you know what I'm saying, if you grew a little ego from then to now.
And just in case people watching forget and try
Mhm.
to put
Mhm.
one over the other. It's like, oh no,
Yep.
they've both done this. Like, don't get them, don't get it twisted.
Don't try to all play all is forgiven. Like
um but I really do like their back and forths and stuff. They later they share drinks and they share
Yeah.
stories. Um uh Before deciding that they need to see their father, Alexei, the Red Guardian, I can never say this name. Shostakov, which is probably the last time I say that, in serving time in a Russian prison at the hands of Draco. Um, so this is another really good conversation because we get the what she says, like 5 of every 20 kids that enter the program make it. The rest of them die. That there's women from all over the world that he's still doing it. He's using this mind control agent to, you know, just take control of them. And then when they, like we saw, one breaks their leg, he in an iPad, you know, thousands of miles in the air, he just kills her. It makes her commit suicide. So they talk. It's just like more of this talk about like people being expendable and this child trafficking and the reach that it is, how many people that he's taking over and stuff.
Right.
Then you get this somber moment where Yelena tells Nat about like she created a fake backstory for her to make her feel better about, you know, how life
Mhm.
turned out, you know, that she's married in the West and stuff.
And the way out west.
Yeah. So like that was kind of cool. They both notice a man put his car keys on a shelf or something, and so they steal that man's car to take so they can get to the plane, so they can get to a plane, so that they
Spies
can
be
get,
spying.
yes, so they can get to the Red Guardian. But en route to the plane brings one of the most heartwarming scenes in the film, in which Yelena shows off her vest. She shows
Oh man,
that
I seen
her
that vest.
vest. Yeah,
I already knew what it was, bro.
me too. Me
My
too.
my heart. I felt it all in my heart. I felt. I was like, oh, I felt so heavy in my chest.
I wonder for
Oh,
those who haven't,
but so warm in my
when it did
arms.
click in. But the thing is, there aren't many. That color is not used very often in the MCU. That army
No,
green.
I think, and it wasn't green in thing either.
Yeah, it was
It was. I
totally
don't
was.
remember it being green.
Yeah,
In
it's
the
like an army green.
in Infinity War.
Yeah, she has a whole black outfit and just the green.
Oh,
It's
that's
very, it's like
probably
very
yeah.
weird. Very. As a
I
matter of
never
fact, I
even
wouldn't
noticed
be
that.
surprised
But
if it's the exact same Black Widow outfit, just with the the green vest
right.
over it.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But but besides it being a heartwarming thing that you realize that, you know, eventually Nat's gonna wear it, like
Hmm.
just like she thinks it's cool. Nat kind of plays her. She defends it, and then Nat
Cause it's got a lot
defends
of
it.
pockets, bro. Damn.
And then when Nat says it's cool, she's like, "I see," and like she felt vindicated. Like all of that
Hmm.
was away from the murder and the fucking brainwashing and the horrible, horrific things that are going on in this film. To take a second to laugh about a vest, I thought was really, really cool. Um, I like that. I like those moments. They break the Red Guardian out of prison, who has gained weight, gained a beard, and gained a lot of Captain America stories.
And is also the arm wrestling champion of the world.
Or at least that prison, right?
Hmm.
What do you think? You think he met Captain America? People have been arguing about this.
Um, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt,
People say
you
that
know,
he
but I also think if you know, if it was that serious, I think Cap would have mentioned it somewhere along down the line, at least with Nat, you know.
when one of my favorite reviewers was talking about it, he made me laugh because he says, because you know the character's kind of portrayed as dumb, not necessarily a liar. But then he goes, wait a minute, but he's a spy, so he kind of technically is always lying. So there's that too. I want to believe him. I really, really, really liked him in this role. He found a way to play like lovable and dumb, smart. Like I don't know.
Right. It was all the funny tropes. I feel like it was balled up into one, and they just get. But I think he knocked it out of the park, though, man.
What's funny is when we did the comic review last week.
I wanted more Lexi.
Oh no, yeah, he's great. When we did the comic review last week, we mentioned that one of the writers for the movie was going to use like some kind of like some of the office, the British office, for reference for how to write Alexei. and I didn't understand what they meant. And now I get what they were going for with him in this is someone who's completely oblivious to how offensive he's being and how offensive some of the things he's saying might come off, given
Right.
everything in context. And that's one of the funniest things about this. Like, he's like, oh, my daughters are back. And they're like, you're not our dad. You're that weird guy who roped us into that weird.
Hmm. But he means well. It's not like it's coming from,
But does he? Does he? I mean, he signed them up to the Red Room. Like, what does he mean? He may have fond memories of them.
Right. I
You feel
think he
me?
just wanted to say he missed them.
But,
You
but,
just
but
say that, bro.
were you surprised by him being surprised that they weren't all over him and in love with him?
Nah.
No.
Because it's like you said, they,
He's
he put
oblivious.
him in the yeah, he put him in the room. I'm not gonna say he doesn't. I don't know. It's weird, man. Because it's like I want to say all this good stuff about him,
You know what?
but he
I
put him in the Red Room.
I got it. No, I got it. And this is. I mean, I guess this is the best time of any to talk about this. But one of the things that I realized when watching this movie is realizing the one besides it tackling family, it's tackling imperfect family and it's sometimes even
Mhm.
tackling toxic family,
Mhm.
right? And it's like there's been family members that have done atrocious things to other family members, you know, things that other family members shouldn't do, whether it's violent, whether it's sexual, whether, of any kind of sort. And they could be excused with, but of course they love me, right? They're my dad or uncle or whatever. We're in a situation right now where the father's like, what are you talking about? I always loved you. Those horrible things I did, like I did them for you to, but to a kid, it's obviously not like that. And
Mhm.
that difference and that disconnect, that shit's real.
Yeah,
Um,
that is real.
um,
And it's like you don't really get it until you're years down the road. You've matured,
and
headed more.
this could be something as little as like having your 5-year-old open your beers for you, right?
Right. Right.
Like you loved me, you made me go get you beers, while you sat and yelled at everyone, or
Hmm.
you made me hide the drugs, where we drove to Disneyland that one time. shit like that shit like that. And it's like, well, they don't not completely there is some love there, but
Right. Right. Right.
the question is, if there was, how does it cross that line? And I guess with family, that logic doesn't always make sense. It just
No.
doesn't sometimes.
No. Don't. That's for sure. Yeah.
Sometimes,
That's for sure.
and there is that imperfectness of family. And Alexi, I feel like fucking like they really found a way to portray that with him.
Represents that 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, they have a very rude conversation about their uterus being ripped out of their bodies.
Oh yeah, I was rolling throughout the whole thing because I already knew Homegirl was just gonna go. Oh boy.
So I don't know. You're probably aware
her
of this because
sarcastic, her
you haven't
sarcastic ass.
been on the podcast for a while, but I have not been a fan of Age of Ultron, like on rewatch.
Okay. Right. Right. Yeah. No, but I know this. Dan
Yeah,
loves Age of Ultron.
yeah, I'm not a fan of Age of Ultron. And now one of the things in retrospect that I think is like ridiculous is that whole. First of all, I never liked the plot of Nat and Bruce getting together. That always felt very weird to
Hmm.
me, right? So, but
Hmm.
that aside, they were trying to do this narrative in Age of Ultron that Nat. First of all, they were trying to do this narrative that what if we're all monsters, right? In particular, that Nat's a monster and Bruce is a monster. Bruce is a monster because he literally turns into a monster, but Nat's a monster because she can't reproduce.
Hmm.
And that felt like something a man would say. And
Hmm.
a man did say it
Hmm.
because Josh Whedon directed that movie. And now we know how Josh Whedon handles his female talent.
Hmm.
When you look back at those two Avengers movies, and I believe I probably said this on the last cast, she's like the mom of the group.
Yeah.
But when you get into like Winter Soldier, Civil War, the other Avengers films with the Russos, she's like legit standing right next to them, like, like ready to deal with it. So the fact that they brought back that whole idea, and they did it in a joking way, I think they did it like to poke fun at it. Like almost as if Alexi is Josh Whedon, you know? Like you stupid. You know how insensitive that was to bring up? Like you didn't even think about how insensitive that was to bring up. So now we're gonna make you feel uncomfortable by
Yeah,
explaining it
and
in
boy, did they.
detail. In detail. And he goes, "Oh, relax, relax. Why you have to get so detailed and graphic?"
Yeah, now you don't want to hear it.
Yeah. So don't just bring up random women's sexual operations, directors. Keep that weird shit to yourself. So he's like, I don't know anything. Like, I don't like, thanks for breaking me out of prison, but I don't know anything. So we should go see, because on rewatch, I'm like, oh yeah, they broke him out for no reason. I guess he knew where Melina was, but they're like, Melina definitely knows what's up. She's probably still working for homeboy. He threw me in prison right afterwards. So yeah, figure that out. Another cool thing about Alexi is I did some deep diving, and he has Natasha's and Yelena's names tattooed in Russian on his arm.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, like, does he love them? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did he not love them initially, and then he came to love
I
them?
say he did, and he did some reflecting in jail, you know, as one does, as
Yeah.
they do sometimes, you know. So, and I guess that he just realized that he did,
I
you know,
also love
and he
the
just felt
wild
bad.
man look, like the metal caps
Oh
in the
yeah,
teeth,
what?
the
One
beard.
hundred
Like
percent, 100%.
I get the look he
Because
was
at the
had in the
beginning
90s
of
or
the
whatever,
movie,
but
he doesn't have any of that at the
no,
beginning of the movie.
no.
So at the beginning, I'm just like, all right, you're clean right here. I'm like, all right. I'm gonna
Yeah,
see what happens an hour in.
tatted up. They tatted him on his. They didn't even finish that tattoo on
Arm,
his back. I wonder who's gonna finish that for
No,
him.
they didn't. Shit. Arm wrestling, breaking people's arms while he's doing it. You know?
Go back and watch that scene when he breaks the guy's arm. The guy, there's a weird cut where it cuts to the guy who's tatting him on the back, who looks at him as he gets up and walks away, and nothing happens because of it. But now I've assumed that he got mad that he didn't get paid, or the guy just got up in the middle
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
tattoo and just walked away. But he's another thing, super soldier. He probably doesn't even feel it.
Yeah, he probably don't even feel it, bro.
That's crazy. Well, they can get
But
arms
then again,
broken, so they could scar.
how does he get the tattoos anyway? If
But that's what I'm saying.
you know what, whatever. I'm not even gonna ask.
They broke
Cap don't even have any tattoos.
John Walker broke his arm. Remember they broke John Walker's arm.
Well, I'm sorry, not Cap. Steve Rogers
Steve
doesn't have any
Rogers.
tattoos.
There you go. No, but they broke John Walker's arm in Falcon and Winter Soldier after he had the super soldier serum.
After?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they took the shield from him. He had the shield. He killed Homeboy with it. They took it from him. And he built another one.
Yeah. You're right. And he built another one.
Yeah. So you're not impenetrable. And I would argue that Steve had like the most potent version of it. These are all knockoffs.
Yeah, I want to say that he had the most not the most potent, but he had the
realist
serum.
Yeah,
the realist. Yep.
The realist.
He had the formula.
So yeah, they show up. They visit Melina, who lives on a farm outside St. Petersburg, where she developed the chemical mind control process used on the widows after getting that data from S.H.I.E.L.D. in the beginning of the film. We find out that S.H.I.E.L.D., which was also Hydra at the time, was working on their Winter Soldier program secretly through S.H.I.E.L.D. And they were working on this whole thing where they had to map the brain because they needed to find a way to not have the issue with Bucky where you have to keep plugging him in and erasing him and stuff. They wanted something easy. They wanted something easier. So they did figure it out, but then they got it stolen by the Russians. And they ended up here with this. So Dreykov used them to improve his widows. And when he was done with Alexei, he threw him in prison. And I guess Melina's still working with him at a distance, working on this formula and stuff. So Alexei puts on his Red Guardian outfit for old time's sake. And they get into an argument at dinner over whether or not they were ever a real family. And Yelena walks away. What do you think about that conversation?
There wasn't going to be no easy way for that conversation regardless. So I knew either feelings was going to get hurt or somebody was going to end up walking off. I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be Nat that walked off. Honestly.
It shows you how tender those topics are for Yelena. And I've been there before with relationships, not necessarily family, but how like sometimes you'll be in a relationship and things just won't work out, But some person's narrative of it is like, oh, it was like the worst situation ever, and it's like, was it really the worst? Like, was it always all bad? I don't think it was always all bad. Obviously, it wasn't the greatest because it ended, but like to paint the whole thing as like the worst thing ever erases any good from it. And if that's the only good you have, then you have none. And so that was all Yelena had. That was the only sweet memories that she had. And a little bit of her knows that it was fabricated, but to have everyone outright say, oh yeah, this was never anything to us.
Yeah, it sucks. It was real to me.
Yeah.
I felt bad for her when she started saying that. I was like, oh man.
And the thing is, she didn't like fully bawl. Her eyes got watery. She got mad. She grabbed a bottle of vodka and she left.
And I'm out.
Yeah, she didn't sit there and sulk. She was over the whole thing. And that goes back to the imperfectness of family. Earlier in the film, Yelena says something about the sister thing, and she says, well, you're not my sister. And Yelena has like a look on her face, and then kind of like has a look like, oh, for real? All right. Well, the Avengers ain't your family.
You heard?
And it gets like real awkward.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if we get to pick and choose family, then yeah, we get to pick and choose family. Like, what is this? If you get to say that the Avengers are your family, how dare you say I'm not your sister? That's
damn straight. That's how you bring that.
Bringing the ruckus. But yeah, again, like in this world now where like modern families are a mix of nuclear families, adoption, foster, stepchildren, all this kind of stuff. People, I would say adoption, like people, like, family members brought in, cousins, all this other kind of stuff. Who's to say what's family? Who's to say what's, black and white family? Ask Dominic Toretto. He'll have the answers for all of that. I'm assuming, in a can of NOS or something. But yeah, Nat and Melina speak, and Melina tells her that she's already alerted Dreykov to their location. Alexi
heel turn.
Yep.
Well, not really the heel turn. She's under,
double heels.
Yeah, double heels.
Alexi and Yelena share a tender moment, which includes a story of Alexi's dad peeing on Alexi's hands when he was young, when he had frostbite, and they got to sing American Pie together. They eventually confronted by Dreykov's men and tranquilized, and brought in by Melina.
You see how many darts they shot up our boy with? That
was hilarious. I feel like I've seen that exact scene somewhere before, but I can't remember where. Also, I dug that when Melina came out in her Black Widow suit, she had the gold bullets around the gauntlet.
Yeah,
I was like,
oh, that was fly. Yeah, I was like, oh, and it's funny because I like seeing, and I popped too when they went inside the thing, because you see all the different wigs too.
Yeah. The wigs, the masks, cool. All that kind of stuff, which should have been the setup for what we're about to see. But again, on second watch, it was way more obvious. But yeah, according to things on paper, Melina has traded in her family and is now going to send them to Dreykov. So they head to the Red Room, which is located in the sky to avoid detection. I have 1,000,001 questions about that are not going to be explained, so I'm not going to even.
Yeah, I do too. I just thought it was cool that it was in the air. I don't know how the hell I don't know. One question I will ask would be, I don't know how the hell that helicarrier didn't fucking smack into that damn thing.
I like the fact that the helicarrier is falling into DC was an issue. I would assume this falling wherever the hell it fell is going to be a big problem, but teach his own. Alexi and Nat, once they get to the Red Room, Alexi and Nat are imprisoned. Yelena is set up to be lobotomized, and Melina debriefs with Dreykov, who has Taskmaster on standby. It is revealed that Melina is actually Natasha in disguise, and Dreykov plays along even though he sees through it. Melina tells Yelena how to escape on an earpiece, and she makes her way to free the widows. Alexei hilariously realizes that he doesn't have an earpiece. He tries to have a whole
I
conversation
thought that was funny.
apologizing. And like I said, he has like this doofy kind of like that bear from Jungle Book kind of like nature about him, where like he's pouring out his heart and no one he's not even on.
No one see.
It's not even anywhere. So it turns out that the plan was done for them to infiltrate and figure out how to destroy the Red Room, using this whole like switcheroo. But Dreykov is ahead of them. He taunts Nat about her family. And yeah, he seemingly knows like right off the rip. Like maybe he smells it. He says like he's looking into the eyes of your daughter. You can tell, or something like that. Not even a mask can keep them away. And speaking of which, he ends up revealing that Taskmaster is his daughter. The one injured from the explosion and crudely kept alive using technology. She is severely damaged due to the explosion in Budapest. Did I miss why he's not?
Huh?
Because
now that you say that, hold on. Now that you say that,
and I could be completely wrong. Again, there's with me categorizing all this other stuff, I completely missed it. But that's the only part that I got very confused about. They were both in the same, like literally a desk apart when the explosion happened. She was presumed dead, and so was he.
Mm-hmm.
She's not dead because of all this stuff to keep her alive. But what's up with him? He's seemingly fine. Maybe he took some of that Russian super soldier stuff that old boy's on. Who knows? But I was confused about that.
I want to know. I want to know who made that. I want to know if the homeboy's still running around out
making
there.
the cocktail.
They need to go find him.
Please shut all that down.
They need to find him.
So yeah, she's now a weapon at Dreykov's disposal. We see that he's using a pheromone.
Before we go any, so there's a shot of Natty and Taskmaster, right? That's why I think people were so thrown off, because when you see the shot, you see the silhouettes of both of them, but it's like you can tell she wasn't like really made to fit the suit.
Right.
The suit was kind of made
to fit her.
Fit her. So I thought that was cool, because you can tell, like, if you shake the suit, then I'm pretty sure she'll rattle around in there like a piece of candy or something.
Yeah, there's certain components where the proportions felt like they either tightened or loosened.
So when you look like at the head really doesn't match at all the body of the helmet and anything. So that's how I felt going in with the review. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But then again, you see how busted she is. I kind of feel like the suit is also keeping her alive,
like Darth Vader style.
Yeah,
it totally. I mean, it could end up being that. I actually had. Where did I put that? Oh, I have that later on. We'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah. So she's like, he's like, you're not gonna get any. Because I think she wanted to apologize. She'd feel better. But Pops is like, yeah, she don't care. She's not gonna.
Yeah, she's just gonna throw the hand. That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, pheromones. We find out about the pheromones. He's using a pheromone that makes anyone in reach of it or him unable to cause him harm. There's a bunch of people.
I'd be okay with that. I have allergies anyway, so it's not like that shit would work on me.
And I'm assuming everyone with allergies was totally on board with this. There's a bunch of people that were like, "Oh, pheromones. That's like some kind of weird magic thing." Purple Man used pheromones. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
It was the same exact thing. It was pheromones from Purple Man that caused people to listen or be compelled to do whatever he said. But yeah, we had the reveal. I thought it was fine. I
thought it was fine too.
The thing is, I never expected anyone life changing to be under there. So I guess that's why the reveal.
I also didn't expect to see her under there. But then again, they threw it all in our faces in the beginning anyway. Like,
they kept
saying it. The daughter. Did you find a body? Did you see? So.
Yeah. But yeah, he sends Taskmaster out to go deal with some people. Yeah, he sends him to deal with Alexei and Melina. And after posing, Yelena realizes that she can't find the widows. I like how she lands in that pose and she's like, ugh, like trying to shake it off.
Oh, yuck.
Back with Dreykov, Natasha baits him into hitting her multiple times. And I don't know, man. I'm old fashioned. I didn't like
Yeah,
seeing her get hit.
the first one was uncomfortable. Was uncomfortable for me to see, even knowing what she was trying to get at. You know what I'm saying? I'm
And
just still
knowing
like,
that
oh
she's a
shit,
badass
man.
and knowing that she could defend
Yeah.
herself, I
Even
did not like
still,
seeing
I'm glad you said that
that.
because I'm the same way. You know,
Yeah.
so the first one, because I know the first one, he tried to rock her, bro.
I was like, yeah, I was not. I was like, oh. And I was like taken aback about how, because like even when he like sits her down and puts his hands on her shoulder and then puts his hands on her head, like there's a weird creep. I mean,
Yeah.
he's fucking trafficking children. Can't get creepier than that. But all of him just oozes scum, you know, like
Yeah,
just
sleaze and
the
everything in
sleaze, bottom
between.
of the barrel scum. But yeah, he like he beats the shit out of her basically, almost severs a nerve. She has to do it later on herself, but what she was doing was she was baiting him into hitting her to sever the nerve, and also so that she could see him use his ring to show how he controlled the floating database. So once she gets all that info, she does what she did to Loki, where she just like,
oh,
okay,
bro, I was waiting
right.
for you to fucking get there, man. Yo, I popped so hard for that.
Yeah, it's the same exact line. She
I popped
says,
so hard for that.
"Thank you for your cooperation."
Once she said that, it was over. I knew what time it was.
Yep. Thank you for your cooperation. I was like, oh no, here it comes.
I popped so hard for that, bro. Oh my god.
After getting
I was so happy when she did that.
After getting that info, she breaks her own nose on his table to sever the nerve that is affected by the pheromones before knocking him out. Probably could have been a better way to do it. There wasn't going to be a more badass way to do it. So I'd go with the badass way. You know, you already have a badass way. Let's do it the badass way. Just smash it on the table.
Doing that?
Smash it on the table. Melina is surrounded near one of the engines, so she blows it up, causing the Red Room to crash. Alexei takes on Taskmaster, and Dreykov six his widows on Natasha. Man, this scene was like very beautifully shot. Because Dreykov still has his map up, so you still get the projection of red light, and so you see like all these widows come in, and all of them are bathed in this red light, and Natasha's trying to shoot them with her gauntlets, and take them out, and all of it. I just thought it was like a very beautiful looking scene. It was all very classy. Is that the word? I just thought it was cool.
So, yeah. You know what was fire before I knew it? So they had all the red lights bumping and that jazz, right?
Yeah.
In the room. When Homegirl threw the vials up.
Oh, the smoke.
Like if you don't pay attention, you'll miss the vials completely.
Yeah.
Before they just poof. I thought that I don't know about everybody else, but I really thought that was fire. I really enjoyed that part because they tried to sneak those vials in, bro, and in all the redness. And
and
the only reason you see it is because of the ends of the vials, because I guess whatever they're silver or metal,
right?
And if you don't, you can actually miss it if you're not really paying attention. And once you see them go off, it's just like, I thought that was cool. That was badass. That was cool.
I also think that what's pretty cool too is that like the reason why it was bathed in red was because it was Dreykov's map, like we said again. So it's basically the images of other widows being projected onto the widows in the room. Like it's just a weird echo of all that kind of stuff somehow. And what's also crazy is that you get this moment where they all come to, and these trained killers all of a sudden all figure out what's going on. And those little lights over there start looking more and more like those lightning bugs in the beginning of the in the beginning.
I was waiting for them to go for something with that, which is dope, because I was like, symbolism.
So yeah, we're basically in the third act now because Nat downloads the locations of the rest of the widows. and then retrieves the 2 surviving vials of the antidote and frees Taskmaster from the locked cell. Melina and Alexei escape via a plane just as Yelena takes out Dreykov's helicopter, killing him and causing her to drop seemingly to her death. One of the other jokes I forgot to mention was her constant idea of what would be a cool death.
Oh yeah, this would be a cool way to die. When she's on the table, that'd be a cool way to die.
Yeah. And then she's like, yeah, it's like, that's not so cool. Very, very funny stuff. Yeah, like it looks like a death moment for Yelena. Like, she just sticks that stick in the helicopter or whatever and gets blown off. But Nat's able to catch her free falling, and
that was so fire, man. That was they gave us a taste of it in the trailer, but yeah, shit, bro.
And I may be, as somebody who is sensitive to like all these theories and stuff now, right? Because I am constantly looking all this stuff up and trying to attribute meaning sometimes where there isn't. I feel like there's a connection. So early on in the film, they're doing that like crab walk thing, and the bet is who's gonna fall first, right? She says like you're gonna fall first, like Yelena's gonna fall first, and technically, of the two of them, from a great height to their death, Yelena did fall first, but Nat had her back.
Yeah.
Then Nat falls. You know what I'm saying? And no one has her back. Seemingly, no one has her back. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. So yeah, she saves Yelena. Somehow she ends up landing without needing a parachute somehow, and gets in it with Taskmaster.
I'm just glad they gave her that sequence is so badass that I was like, damn, she didn't even give it up with the squad like that.
No.
Which is good. She gave it up with the fam like that, though. That's cool.
One of the biggest compliments I've heard given to this movie is it doesn't make you think of the other Avengers.
That is 100% true. I didn't even care where everybody was at.
Right.
But I'm here with that. I'm here with that.
And it's one of those things is like, because it was as good as it was, the film, I feel like it makes you wanted it earlier.
Right.
Like what took so long, but we got it. So I ain't even mad. After landing, Romanoff uses the antidote on Taskmaster, freeing her from her servitude. This is seemingly the end of Taskmaster. This is what I was waiting for. 2 things. 1, I hope this becomes a Mandarin-esque twist where somebody finds this technology after the fact, picks it up and starts using it, maybe on like the Disney Plus level of stuff. Who knows, But like,
I just want them. I want them to pick
it
up. I want them to pick it up and not even use the tech.
Yeah, just be on it. You just want somebody to be on it.
Just be on it. Watch the videos. That's it. Go out there, guys. That's it. That's it.
So, fellow clicker Jonathan Escudero, aka Yogi, ended up finding out this. According to the, I want to say that let me make sure. No, according to the screenplay writer, or the writer, I guess, not the screenplay writer, there was a previous draft in which it was a Tony Masters character. So, it was hard because we had certain things that we knew, certain constants. One of the constants was we were right after Captain America Civil War and before Avengers Infinity War, which meant that our great threat, the Red Room, one of the bigger kind of complications was figuring out a villain plot that could succeed but also go unnoticed, which ultimately I think kind of works for a spy thriller film and also for Dreykov as the ultimate villain, because he's kind of a cowardly man who wields power from behind the shadows. He just he thinks he's so big, but he's actually scared to go out and get out into the real world. After looking at the villain and the overall story of the film, Pearson and the team on Black Widow decided a comic book accurate version of Taskmaster was not the right fit. Tony Masters did not seem to really fit into that. And meanwhile, we had this mystery of what happened to Dreykov's daughter. And I don't know, it seemed like because Natasha Romanoff's story was always going to be more grounded, you can still do that and have some Marvel fun, fantastic.
Right. And I've said this a couple of times before. I was gonna say this for the end too. I'm a big fan of a workaround if it makes sense along with the story.
Yeah.
So I literally have no complaints here.
I'm a little bit like I just don't want the character to be gone forever. That's literally all
That's
it is.
another thing too, because I really like Taskmaster. Taskmaster.
Yeah, say that
So,
5 times fast.
And it's just like I know most from like games and very little from comics because I haven't gotten around to
Ain't he all over that new Avengers game?
I was just about to say that too, but he's also in the Avengers game. Towards the beginning though. Sorry if I spoil that. But even still, even in the game, he's still kind of badass. So
yeah, that's it. Like, I'm less angry about the Mandarin reveal, given we're getting the Mandarin like in the next couple of months. So the freed widows arrive as Yelena, Marina, and Alexei say goodbye to Romanov. She gives Yelena the last antidote vial and the portable drive, telling her to find and free the other still mind-controlled widows. That could have just been a Disney Plus show in itself, right? Like,
right.
I'm gonna send you and go do this mission, and Yelena gives her vest for safekeeping. As they leave with Antonia, Romanov awaits Ross and his men, who have arrived to apprehend her, but obviously she gets away. Now, this moment felt weird to me because then we get the next scene is 2 weeks later. Romanov reunites with Mason, who supplied her with a Quinjet. She leaves and says she's going to go free the Avengers on the raft. In my opinion, when they made this movie, that ending with Ross and the men, that was the ending of the film. The music swells, she gets her hero shot, and it's over. And then somebody was like, yeah, but how does this connect to fine. Fine. You have to see her wearing the vest. You have to see her get a Quinjet. You have to see her say, nice. I am now going to go.
Yeah, but she should have, even more so, because I feel so like, I'm going to double down on what you said, because whoever that was just like, get off my back, because Cap is already at the raft freeing these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
but she could be the one that she could be the one that's waiting outside in the Quinjet.
That's exactly what I end up doing. I end up having a conversation with the guys in the chat room about this because I felt kind of dumb. I'm like, did they? Because to my knowledge, we find out later on that Scott Lang and Hawkeye take plea deals. So I'm like, did they get arrested twice? Did they get broken out of the raft and then get arrested again and take plea deals? And so yeah,
that's a good point.
Confused. I was confused about those details, but yeah, seemingly it all lines right up. This takes place in like 3 days. Apparently the time from Captain America and Bucky fighting Iron Man and Steve giving him that phone call is quite a bit of time.
Okay.
And in that time, this film takes place.
Awesome. I like that.
So, seemingly with Nat's help, he breaks out.
Just slide that on in there, slide that on off screen,
Also, while doing my deep dives, I found out that there is actually an Avengers Infinity War prelude comic, which purports that Nat, Sam, and Cap are stopping terrorists around the world who are trying to use Chitauri tech.
Oh, okay. So
they were side questing it, apparently.
Okay, side quests. All right.
I ain't even mad about it.
Me either.
So in our post-credit scene, no mid-credits, no fancy credits, none of that. I was very surprised.
You don't want to overdo it on us,
Yeah, it's true. In a post-credit scene set after Romanov's death, we see Yelena encounter Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
So all right, here's my thing. I feel like they pushed back Black Widow because of this scene right here.
According to them, this was supposed to be the first time you meet this character.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then we were supposed to pop bigger.
The bigger pop Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Oh, I thought that was always I thought the first time around they pushed it back because of obvious reasons. But then I feel like they were like, oh wait, hold up, we can actually push it back again. And then when people see the post credit, they'll be like, ah, you know.
What's crazy is I don't think from the post credit she's named, right?
No,
But she gets her full
but if she,
name in Falcon and Winter
yeah,
Soldier. So
in
I
Falcon and Winter
wonder
Soldier. No,
whether
I
we were
think she got
supposed to
the
know
full
who
name,
she
but
was.
homegirl knows her.
Yeah. But I mean, like, as
I
a
think
fan,
home.
what was she? What was that supposed to mean to you
Okay.
as a fan? Like watching, if you didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier ever, like,
Well,
what?
I'd wait for the name drop. I'd have to wait for the name
But
drop.
there is no name drop. They don't ever say. She doesn't
True
ever say.
that.
Oh,
True
I
that.
think she might say
So then
Contessa. Maybe.
I have to watch that back, but I think so. I think she does say her name, not full name, but I want to say she does say her first name.
And she basically says, "Hey, I got a job for you. I know who killed your sister. It's Clint Barton."
Lies on lies and lies, but I understand.
And you can find him weekly on Disney Plus. So I'm assuming she's gonna find her way over there. What do you think about this post credit? What do you think it means for everything going on?
I'm with it. Definitely gets me hyped for Hawkeye.
Yeah,
Definitely gets me hyped for Hawkeye.
I feel like that is gonna come like right in the middle of like us. Like they're gonna be obviously dealing with their own stuff, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're gonna turn around and Yelena's gonna be there.
Yeah. That's exactly how it's gonna go.
Yeah, and you're gonna pop the same thing like when the Wakandans, when the Dora Milaje showed up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like,
Damn right.
Oh shit! All right, I dig it. Keep expanding this universe. But yeah, like I'm unapologetically a fan of this film.
That's funny because you say expand this universe because what was it that I told everybody when we were watching? I was like, the reveal for Taskmaster, right?
Okay.
I told them, so I knew the reveal was gonna come, and I forgot who asked me, who do you think it's gonna be? And I told
did you have a guess? Did you have an idea?
I didn't because that's what led me to tell. Matter of fact, it was Rhea. Rhea asked me, who do you think it is? I was like, Rhea, I don't know who the hell it is. We're so far into this right now, into this whole MCU thing. It could be anybody at this point.
Yeah.
Whoever who they want to pull from left, from right, it can be anybody at this point because we got all of our guys back already. You know.
Yeah.
Well, most of everybody, as far as I know.
And look at the lineup of projects in the background, right? Quantumania,
so
Miss Marvel.
I'm just like,
who knows?
And the deeper we go, is just more room to freaking branch out. It's like it's bananas. It really is a cinematic comic book universe, bro.
Yeah, and it's gonna be unmatched because they keep going.
And it's only and it keeps going. It's getting bigger. Oh man, woo!
Luckily, we'll be here categorizing every single step of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including the Disney Plus stuff, where we actually are going to be tackling Loki next week. Final episode of Loki will be out the same day that this episode comes out.
I actually just watched the second to last episode on that.
It's getting crazy. Some glorious purpose is happening.
That was cool. Yeah, it's going down, man.
So if you are a fan of the Loki series, make sure that you're paying attention to this because next week we'll be going full in on all things Loki. But thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. Again, I'm unapologetically a fan of this film. I actually do believe that upon more rewatches, I'll end up liking it more.
I'm definitely gonna watch it again.
I miss its simplicity. I miss films feeling this simple. One of the last major new film releases that I've gotten was a 4-hour film this year. So something a little bit more humorous and a little bit more punchy felt good.
Right.
So keep it going. Oh, also want to say, I thought I was like big, tough, whatever, watching this film. As soon as the Marvel credits hit up in the beginning, I got goosebumps.
Dude, I got goosebumps too because it's new. They fixed it. They fixed it up. They switched stuff around. They added new things in between the letters. Inside the letters. Yeah. Oh man, I was so happy for that. And they treat us so good.
Yeah, they do. I feel like
they treat us so good.
I'm like a lap dog. Shit, just keep petting me and giving me content. I'll be fine.
Jesus.
But yeah, thank you for listening to this episode of the Major Issues Podcast. Next week, we got Loki on deck. But as you know, or if you don't, every single episode of the Major Issues Podcast is available at comicbookclick.com, which is where all of our merchandise exists, where articles written by yourself and other members of the Click exist. I'm doing what's called a Loki recap once a week. Where I'm just giving out my general thoughts and crazy predictions, not getting any of them right, but still liking what's going on. So go ahead and read those. But yeah, over 180 episodes of the Major Issues Podcast exist on comicbookclick.com. But if you already have a podcast app already in your phone, that's fine. You can still find Major Issues on it because we're available on all the podcast apps: Podbean, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, the Apple Podcast app, TuneFind, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube.
In every single timeline.
Exactly. In all the single timeline. And guess what? In all countries. In countries around the world, which is fantastic. Our reach is out there. We're putting out the good stuff. We're not like Dracoff, okay? We don't got a bunch of red dots on the screen. We have all you lovely listeners from all over the world tuning in and making this the greatest podcast of all time. So keep liking, sharing, subscribing. Keep telling a friend to tell a friend. Let's extend our reach. You understand? Give us 5 stars, rate and review us on iTunes. It's the quickest way for us to grow as podcasters and find out what you like and what you don't. Because I've been to the future where we do become the latest and greatest thing to come to comic books and comic book media. Can't tell you how that happened. If I did, then I would have to put a chip in your head and it'd be a whole thing. You wouldn't like it. So just believe me when I say get on the bandwagon before the bandwagon gets full. If there's anybody you love, put them on the bandwagon before the bandwagon gets full. And join us next week for Loki. Also, if you want to help us financially keep the lights on here for as little as 10 cents a day, $3 a month, you can help us independent content creators produce more stuff for Major Issues Podcast. We got some big things coming down the pike, I believe is the phrase. And I'm excited about some of them, but yeah, the more support that we can get, the more we can branch out in some of these ventures. And I'm really excited for the year 2021 that we're going to have. So thank you guys all for supporting financially. Thank you to those who haven't, but have bought a shirt, have listened to the podcast, have left a review. All those things help us. But the one thing that I truly love about this group is that we get engagement. Talk to us. We want to hear you guys. Facebook.com/comicbookclick, Instagram @comicbookclick, or use the hashtag comicbookclick to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. We're also at Major Issues CBC, always posting dank memes, stuff about the Major Issues schedule, and overall comic book news. So follow all those things. I know we're gonna have the MCU films are very popular on the cast.
Yes, they are. And you want to know what's funny? I just ran past something that said Marvel is done with massive multi-movie deals for actors.
Oh, I love that. I can talk about that real quick. It's this idea of they used to have to beg people and say, listen, no, we'll keep you engaged for 10 years.
But now everybody wants to be peace.
Yeah.
So they got to tell everybody, whoa, calm down.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for all the Megan Fox fans out there. An article had recently come out that was like, Megan Fox shares her desire to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm like, you mean Megan Fox shares her desire to want to be paid, like if she's somebody who is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Because it's been going on for 10 years, ma'am, and you've not said a word, not even a lick when you were getting that Transformers money. What's going on here? I don't think you want to be in it as much as you want those Kevin Feige sized checks. But to each his own. Who am I to gatekeep? You can play whoever you want to play in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Megan Fox, just like we play our roles every single week here on the Major Issues Podcast. But that'll be it for this Black Widow episode. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don.
I am Cloudus Maximus. Let them know what it is.
And this has been our Black Widow recap and review. And remember, whether you're lying about fighting Captain America, singing Bye Bye Miss American Pie, or consider yourself a poser sometimes, remember, it's all about family. Remember, we are the Click. And remember, you, yes, you, are worthy.